one shot.
Today we will learn how to solve quadratic equations by a method called completing the square. Today we will only work on the equations that look like this. Notice there is no coefficient in front of the variable squared. Let's just look back a little bit at something we learned earlier. When you have a binomial squared, you get a perfect square trinomial. What I want you to remember is that if you take half of this, at least the number part, you would get 7. And then if you square 7, you get 49. So this number right here is actually half of this coefficient squared. So we will keep that in mind as we do example 1. First thing I want to do is I want to rewrite this equation a little bit where I have some room to do some work. I want to make this left side of the equation into a binomial squared. So I just need to keep in mind what we just talked about. I'm going to take half of 8, which is 4, square 4, and get 16. So I'm going to add a 16 right here so that I will have a perfect square trinomial. But if I add 16 to one side of the equation, I have to do it to the other side. Now, if I look at the left side of the equation, I have a perfect square trinomial, and when I factor that, like we learned weeks ago, I will get x minus 4 quantity squared equals, and then 9 plus 16 is 25. Now I can solve this equation similar to a way that we did earlier. I'm going to take the square root of both sides, and that will give me x minus 4 equals positive and negative 5. It is very, very important that you take care of the positive and negative right there. Now I'll simply add 4 to both sides and look at my results. So x equals, well, first of all, 5 plus 4 equals 9, or negative 5 plus 4 equals negative 1. So my solution is 9 or negative 1. Let's just go ahead and check one of those just to be sure. We'll plug in the 9. 9 squared is 81, minus 8 times 9 is 72. 81 minus 72 does equal 9, so 9 works. The negative 1 should work as well. And for this next example, I notice that the left-hand side is already a perfect square trinomial. If I take half of the 4, I get 2, and then square the 2, I get 4. This is a perfect square trinomial, so I'm just going to complete the square right here. And it's going to be x plus 2 squared equals 0. Now I'll do the same thing I did before. Take the square root of both sides. I get x plus 2 equals, the square root of 0 is 0. Then I will subtract 2 and get x equals negative 2. So for this quadratic equation, I only have one solution. On to example 3. I'm going to rewrite it to give me room to complete the square. I'm going to take that negative 4 and bring it to the other side, or add 4 to both sides, and I will get this. Now I'm going to complete my square. Same procedure. Half of 8 is 4. 4 squared is 16, so I'm going to add a positive 16 to both sides. So I'll have a 20 here. Now I have a perfect square trinomial, which I can factor into a binomial squared. This would be x minus 4 squared. If I take the square root of both sides, I'll get x minus 4 equals positive and negative 4.47 if I round to the nearest hundredth, and I did. Next, I'll just add 4 to both sides and get my two solutions. So first of all, positive 4.47 plus 4 will be 8.47. And then negative 4.47 plus a positive 4 will give me a negative 0.47. So my two solutions are 8.47, there goes the bell, and negative 0.47. I wish I knew how to edit these things. Okay, two more examples. Example 4. X squared minus 6x equals 8. half of 6 is 3. 3 squared is 9. So I have to add 9 to both sides. So this equals x minus 3 squared is equal to 17. Take the square root of both sides. I get x minus 3 equals positive and negative 4.12. To get rid of minus 3, I will add 3 to both sides. So when x is positive 4.12, I get x equals 7.12. When x is negative 4.12, and I add 3, I get negative 1.12. So these will be my two solutions. Last example. Here my coefficient is a 1. Half of 1 is 1/2. When I square 1/2, I get 1/4. So my equation will be x squared minus x. Let me add that 2 to both sides. Okay, plus the 1/4. Add the 1/4 here. Complete the square here. This will be x minus 1/2 squared equals 2 1/4. Take the square root of both sides. I get x minus 1/2 equals, well, the square root of 2 1/4 is positive and negative 1 1/2. Now I'll add 1/2 to both sides. Well, 1 1/2 plus 1/2 equals 2, and then negative 1 1/2 plus 1/2 is negative 1. So my solutions are 2 and negative 1. Well, that was 5 examples. I hope this helps.
Back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity. Oh, there goes rabbit. He choke. He's so mad, but he won't give up. Daddies, he know he won't have it. He knows his whole back to these ropes. It don't matter. He's dope. He knows that, but he's broke. He's so stagnant.